Okay, hey, all right. So as promised, what we're gonna do in this video is look at subqueries, what they are, how they work. Okay, so let me share my screen. There we go. Okay, so what we want to do um, in this subquery right here is we want to, let's say we want to select all the movies that are not we'll say sci-fi and comedy. This is the example that we did in the course. I might as well just do it again. So we want to get all the movies that are not sci-fi or comedy. Okay, so let's get into that. So first thing that we need to do is we need to, let's start off by getting all of the movies that are sci-fi or comedy, okay? Because again, we're going to break this up into different pieces so that we can see how all this stuff works. All right. So let's get all the movies that are sci-fi and comedy first. Let's start off with that. This is going to teach us about subqueries and how they work. And we're only going to look at one subquery, and that is the non-correlated subquery. There's also a correlated subquery, but I'm not going to worry about that in this particular lesson. Okay, we're just going to do non-related subquery. Okay, so first let's start off again by select all the movies that are sci-fi or comedy. Oh, and this needs to be or right there, not and. Okay, so we want to select all the movies that are sci-fi or comedy. I'm gonna say select. Let's get the title. Yeah, so select m dot title, and we'll select g dot genre from movie M. We're gonna join uh movie to genre. Let me turn this light on. It's my face. Um, my face brings in the dollars. That's crazy. Using movie underscore ID. So join movie to genre using movie ID, and then we're going to join uh, genre G using genre ID. Okay, and then we want to say where, because we want them if they're sci-fi or comedy. So we can say where G dot genre is equal to sci-fi or G dot genre is equal to comedy. All right. So that's what we want to start off with. Okay, select m dot title, g dot genre from movie M. Join movie to genre using movie ID. Join genre G using genre ID, where genre is equal to sci-fi or g dot genre is equal to comedy. Going to copy this and paste it. And there it returns the movies that are either a sci-fi or comedy. And we have 8 rows we see here. Notice here in these 8 rows that we have Spaceballs listed twice because Spaceballs is both a comedy, a, a comedy of comedies, as a matter of fact, and also a sci-fi movie as well. Okay, so it's working so far. There's a way that we can we can rewrite this. Sometimes here, this clause here, this where clause, where G dot genre is equal to sci-fi or G dot genre is equal to comedy, we can rewrite this, okay, to make it look a little more human, if you will. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna paste this, okay, and instead of saying where G dot genre is equal to sci-fi or G dot genre is equal to comedy, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say where G dot genre in, I'm gonna open parentheses, I'm gonna say sci-fi and then comma up and then comma right there and then comedy, like so. Uh, what we're doing right here is we are writing the same thing, but we're using the in clause. So let's copy this and let's see if this works first. We should get this exact same results. And we do. Yep, we get the exact same results. Cool. So what's happening here is we're making this a little more humanly understandable, where I'm saying, hey, I'm creating a set of information or a set of results, sci-fi and comedy. And I'm saying, hey, look in genre and see if it's in this set, sci-fi or comedy. And if it is in that set, then return those movies. So it has a set of our criteria right here, this set, which is sci-fi and comedy. Okay. And then it's going to take each movie and it's going to say, hey, is this in the set of sci-fi or comedy? Yes, it is. Okay, add that to the results. Is this sci-fi or comedy? No, it's not. Okay, that doesn't go in the results. What about this one? Is this sci-fi or comedy? Yes, it is. Okay, add to the results. So on and so forth. That's what it's doing. So this, I like to say that this first query is more logical, if you will, saying that genre is equal to sci-fi or genre is equal to comedy. This is really what's happening. And so therefore, this is a more logical query or subclause. This one is more humanly understandable, if you will. Okay, so that works. So there's in, but there's also a not in. There's a not in clause. So let me put a comment right here. Say the in clause. And there's also a not in clause. Okay. So what we're going to do is I'm going to say, hey, select m.title g.genre from movie m join. I don't know why I'm writing this all out again, but I just am. Join movie to genre using movie underscore ID. I guess it's muscle memory. Practice, practice, practice. Join genre G using using genre ID. I can say where g.genre not in sci-fi or comedy. Yeah, because that's what we wanted, right? That's what we want to do. We want to select all the movies that are not sci-fi or comedy. That's the challenge. Okay, so this should work then, because I'm saying, hey, select the movies that are not in sci-fi or comedy. I'm gonna copy this, paste it. Oh, we got an issue here. Oh, join. Do that quite a bit. It should be join Let's see. There we go. Copy and paste. Now let's see what happens. Okay. Um. So it didn't work. Not quite. Uh. If I look in here, I don't have anything. I don't see sci-fi or comedy in here. However, this isn't correct because if you look and see, we have like Sharknado was still listed. Sharknado is a sci-fi. Shrek, that should not be listed because it's a comedy. Black Dynamite, Avengers, so on and so forth. So there are movies here that, even though they're classified as other genres, they're still classified as sci-fi or comedy as well. So they should not be in this list. Okay, so this right here we can see is not working. So how do we fix it? The way we fix it, uh, we'll need to use a subquery. Okay, and a subquery is simply a query that is contained within another, I'll say within I call it parent query. And I think parent is kind of like I haven't heard anybody else say that, but I mean, I'm pretty sure someone else said it. It's not just like my terminology. But anyways, a subquery is a query that is contained within a parent query. Okay. And as I mentioned earlier in this video, there's two types of subqueries. Okay. You have a non-correlated subquery. And this is a subquery that does not contain, I'll say, related information from the parent. Okay. And a correlated subquery, well, that is one, it does contain related info from the parent. So the way I like to look at this is uh, the non-correlated subquery is a subquery that can stand alone, meaning I could write this query on its own and it will return some results. A correlated subquery, I could not do that. I write it and it needs information from the parent in order for it to work. Maybe it's, using one of the fields from the parent, or maybe some terminology or something. I don't know. It could be different things, but it needs information from the parent in order for it to execute. Okay. So what we're going to work on, we're going to use a non-correlated subquery to solve our problem. Okay. And so what we're going to need to do is use this query that we previously wrote using the in clause, where I'm saying, hey, select the title and genre for movie, join movie to genre using movie ID, join genre using genre ID, where genre is in sci-fi or comedy. Because what happens here in our where clause, again, is returning a set of films that are sci-fi or comedy. So it's returning the 8 different rows that are sci-fi or comedy. Okay. So we'll need that here. Let's start it off. What do we want? We want, let's say, select m.title g.genre from movie M, And we're going to join movie to genre. Okay. Using movie ID. And then we're going to join genre G using genre ID. And then what I can do, I can say where G dot genre, not in what. I'm going to open my parentheses, and right here, I'm going to write my subquery. Okay, so I can say select well, what am I select? Select m dot title g dot genre from movie M. Again, we're going to join movie to genre using movie ID. And we're going to join genre G using genre ID. Yep. And then I can say where G dot genre is in sci-fi and comedy. Is in that set. Okay. So give me the title and the genre from movie M. Join movie to genre using movie ID. Join genre G using genre ID, where G dot genre is not in, and then select M dot title, G dot genre from movie M. Join movie to genre using movie ID. Join genre using genre ID, where genre is in sci-fi comedy. So our subquery, that we wrote, that's going inside of these parentheses. Okay. And again, we looked at it and we saw that that query returns a result. It returns a set of movies and genres that are sci-fi or comedy. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the big query, the parent query, and take each result and say, hey, are you in this set? Yes or no? If you are, okay, we're not going to include you. If you are, matter of fact, I need to change this right here. This doesn't need to be g.genre. I'm going to say where m.movie instead, where the movie is not in this set. So let's copy this and paste it. Hopefully this works. I don't know. We got an issue here. Unknown column m.movie. Oh, yeah, right there. It's not m.movie, it's m.title. No one said anything. All right, here we go. Copy that now. Let's see. And paste it. We got another error. Operand should contain one column. Huge, big, right? So what does that mean? So we're selecting the movie title and the genre. I had to fix this because it's saying the operand should contain one column. What's happening is I'm returning two columns. I'm returning the title as well as the genre. Oh, I need to fix that. Okay. So let's do this. Let's remove that g.genre and let's just return the title Up. What did I do this time? Oh, I know what I did. Matter of fact, right here. This is where, yeah, select m.title there. Okay, now let's see. Let's see if this works now. Oh, there we go. All right, we're getting somewhere. Um, Now you can see here that it lists the title of the movies that are not sci-fi or comedy. None of these movies here are sci-fi or comedy. We got The Natural, got Great Gatsby, got Postman All His Rings Twice. We got The Other Great Gatsby, and the Lucasta, Death Wish, The Wiz, and Black Orpheus. Okay, so we're kind of getting somewhere. We need to fix this though. We need to correct this. Okay, because we don't want all these listed like so. What we want to do is we want to just have the movie shown once, right? Want to do that, and we figured out how to do that in our previous video, and that is by using the group by clause. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, hey, group by m.title. So now instead of showing duplicates of movies, we're going to show the movie just once, or the title just once, and I redo that, and there we have something that is looking a little bit more like what we want. And that is showing here 7 movies, really 8 movies that are not sci-fi or comedy. And what do you mean by that, Coach? We look here and we see that The Great Gatsby is listed one time, but there's 2 different Great Gatsbys in our database. We have the classic one with Robert Redford playing Jay Gatsby, and then the other, not quite classic, but give it some time, one with Leonardo DiCaprio playing Jay Gatsby. So we want to be able to differentiate because those are in fact 2 separate movies. Okay. So how are we going to do that? Oh, more work. Okay, but we got it. We got it basically working. And again, that's using the subquery right here, where we wrote a query inside of a parent query, and that returned the data that we want. Okay, so how do we fix this? One thing we can do is with our movies, they are we do have a year released, okay? And when you look at, like, say IMDb, for example, or maybe some other movie database out there, when it comes to remakes, which I am against, but when it comes to remakes, what you'll see is that the year that the film was released will be included um, in the title. Okay, so in other words, let's say like with The Great Gatsby, what I want to do is say, hey, The Great Gatsby, and then have the year that 1974, and then the other one would be what 2013, 2014, whatever it is. So the way we'll do this, we'll start off by using another SQL function, and that is concat. What concat does, it combines 2 strings. Okay. If you've done any JavaScript or Python or some other programming language, you should be familiar with concatenation, because that's essentially what we're doing here. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this query because I'm not going to write that all over again. I'm going to paste it over here. And instead of having select m.title, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say select concat, and I'll say m.title. Okay. And if you know concatenation, we need to account for empty space. So I'm going to do it a string with just a space in between. And then I'm going to say m dot year released. Yes, that's what I'm going to do. So it's going to be movie title, space, year released. And I'll say as title. So that's what it'll be listed as. This will be the heading. And I'll just say, I'll say movie title. Okay. And then what I want to do in my group by, I want to do the exact same thing there. So I'm going to copy this right here just to make sure that it works. And instead of group by m.title, I'm going to group by, I forgot the C, group by concat m.title year, m.year released. Okay. Now, concat again is a MySQL function. Okay. And SQL functions behave in the same way other functions do in programming, where you have your function name, okay, and your parentheses, and make sure that they are touching, no space in between, because SQL needs to know that this is in fact a function. Okay, so it needs to be touching. And also our arguments in our function need to be separated by commas. And that's what we have here. So make sure that concat is touching the parentheses, no space in between, because again, it is a function, and that each argument or each parameter inside of our function is separated by a comma. Okay. So now let's copy this, paste it, and there we go. So now we have 8 rows. Okay. And you can see that the Great Gatsby has been separated. All right. So cool. The only thing about this that I don't like is that it's going to show that for every single movie, and I don't want to show that for every single movie. I only want to show it in this case right here if it's The Great Gatsby, where it's showing the name of the movie and year. Okay. So we got to go into our bag of tricks. Let me paste this again. And what we're going to do is we're going to use our case. Okay. So we're going to change this up a little bit. Let's remove this and select, and we're going to say case. I like to put my when over here. Case when, and I can say when the m.title is equal to The Great Gatsby, then I want to concat m.title, not title, to the space right there, and then m.year released. Let me stretch this out just a hair. There we go. Okay. So when m.title is a Great Gatsby, then concat m.title space m.year release. Okay. Else just m.title. And then we will end, I call it movie title. Okay. And I want to add that to my group by. So I'll do the same thing. So we're going to group by case, when, same thing. Just going to copy this and paste it. And then what I'm going to do, oh, I got an extra win right there. And then what I'm going to do right here, thanks to the secret instructor for this cohort, I think we're just going to end right there, and that's it. And let me clean this up. All right, I think this should work. So select case. When the title of the movie is A Great Gatsby, then what we're going to do is we're going to display The Great Gatsby and the year that it was released. Otherwise, we're just going to return the title. From the movie table, join the movie to genre table on movie ID. Join the genre table on the genre ID, where the title is not in the set of movies that are sci-fi or comedy. And then group the results by, when the title is Great Gatsby, then Great Gatsby and the year released, else the title, and then end it. Whew. All right, let's see. We're going to copy this and paste it, and let's see what happens. Do I get an error? I don't. What happens? Okay, so I get all 8 movies. Okay. If the movie is not titled The Great Gatsby, then it just returns the title of the movie. But if it is titled The Great Gatsby, then we get the year that it was released. So that way it differentiates between the 2 movies when we group them. YouTube can sequel. All right. Practice. That's what it takes. It takes practice to do this. As you can see, the queries can get very complex, and they can be even more complex than this. Trust me. It's how you want to get your results. Okay. But it takes practice, and notice how we broke this down. Okay, and we started off with something small, it then built up into something bigger. Okay, we didn't just go and just try to write that query, right there out of the gate. No, we kind of dug into it, and like I said, took it in small chunks, and then built up on it based on the knowledge that we have. We learned a couple of things in the process. We just added to our toolkit, but it's all based on the things that we already have learned. Okay. So that's that on this video. Practice this, okay? Doing this one time is not enough. All right. Do this again. Maybe you want to get the actors who were not in a comedy. You want to do that. Or maybe you only want actors that are in comedies, and I mean actors that are only in comedies, like they haven't done any other movie. There's so much stuff that you could do with this database. Even as simple as this database is, there's a lot of things that you can do with it. So going to leave you all with that. All right. So again, just keep practicing. Practice makes better. And while you're practicing, don't forget to practice subscribing to this video, practice liking it, practice commenting on it, practice sharing it. And practice donating to my YouTube fund so I can make some money from this. I need like 30 million views from this, whatever. And I'm not going to say whatever I got to do, because I'm not taking my shirt off and coding. None of that. People don't need that, Anyways, catch you all on the next side of this video.